Hi, my name is Mesma Delight, and on this channel I post sewing tutorial. Today's video is all about the making of the Victorian corset you see on your screen. I actually made this corset for my birthday shoot and the end result was actually very nice. You see it on your screen too. So I'll be sharing this tutorial with you. I'm actually very excited sharing this tutorial with you, and I hope you find it helpful in the making of your Victorian corset. Okay, so this video will be all about the pattern drafting aspect of it. So like if you're making a Victorian corset, just see like a pad that has the demarcations. It's kind of, I think it's better for you to view that you're actually making cutting a pad, because if you tag it as a Victorian corset, it might be like you might see it as something too big for you to achieve. So just see it like a pad that has a demarcation. So the first thing I did was to mark my shoulder line. Then I'm marking my shoulder to bust, that's shoulder to nipple, my shoulder to under bust, my half length, and then I'll have the full length of the top. So I'm going to mark the same thing at the other end of my pattern paper. Okay, so I'll be using the whole length of the pattern paper for the full length of my top. I don't have my allowance added to this, so I'll add it when I am cutting on my material. So time for me to connect the line. The first line I'm connecting is my bust line measurement. After that, I'll connect my under bust line measurement, then my half length line measurement. Don't forget, we're using the whole pattern paper as the full length of our top without allowance, that's without the full length allowance. So now write SH for my shoulder line, B for my bust line, UB under bust line, HL half length line, and FL my full length. Okay, so now I've done with the labeling. What I need to do now, on my shoulder line, I will divide my shoulder measurement into two. Like whatever your shoulder, divide it by 2, you mark it there. Now for my chest line, I do get my chest line by adding 1 inch the division of my shoulder measurement. So my shoulder is 8.5, adding 1 inch, I have 9.5. Therefore my chest line is 9.5. Now I've marked 9.5, I'll use my ruler to draw a straight line. So this whole new line I'm drawing is my chest line. So you do make sure you label your CH, and I'll be labeling mine CH. We're done with that. So on my chest line, I will mark the division of my shoulder measurement on that chest line. That's done. This new line I want to create now is my armhole line. So connecting the shoulder line, my shoulder measurement at my shoulder line, and the shoulder measurement at my chest line, I have my armhole line. On my shoulder line, I went down by 1 inch, and from that 1 inch, I want to get the midpoint from the 1 inch I went down by to my chest line. I'll mark a mark there. I'll go in by half of an inch. And what I'll do next is that I will create a curve. So I'm creating my armhole curve right now. That's from that 1 inch I went down by to the midpoint, from that midpoint all the way to my chest line. Okay, so we're done with that. Next, I want to down to work on my neckline. I'm marking 3 by 3. That's 3 on my shoulder line and 3 down. So you know I'm not going to use the neckline. I'm just marking whatever I want for my neckline. Make a curve. Now I'm going to create my shoulder slope from my neckline down to my shoulder slope. That's that one that I went down by, sorry. So that's my shoulder slope. Now to get the midpoint of my shoulder slope, you see what I'm doing and do yours like mine. I will make a mark at the midpoint of my shoulder slope. So that's the division of my shoulder slope. So next I want to mark is my nipple to nipple measurement. At my bust line, it's 8. My nipple measurement is 8, sorry. Divided by 2, I have 4. So at my bust line, I'm actually marking that 4. That's the division of my nipple to nipple measurement. So now, you know, on a normal, we'll carry that, we'll use that 4 to go down all the way to our full length line. But I don't want to do that. At my full length line, I'm marking 3. I'm minusing 1 inch from the division of my nipple to nipple measurement. That's, I have 4 at my bust line and I have 3 at my full length line. So I'm going to mark my that line using my pattern master. I'm just making sure that my under bust line is also 4. So now I'm just trying to create my dark line. Remember, 4 at my bust line, 3 at my under bust line. I did this, sorry, 3 at my full length line. I did this because I'm trying to, like, I don't want my star line to be straight. So I'm carrying it all the way to my shoulder, division of my shoulder slope. Okay, so now that's done. Now at my full length line, I'm going up by 1.5. Now remember, if it's for pad now, we're going to go in from both sides by 0.75, and I'm going in by 0.75 at both sides of my underbust that line. Okay, so now I'll connect it to that 1.5 I went up by at my full length line. So this is just like after you're drafting a pad pattern. Okay, so now I've done that. Next thing I want to do now is on my underbust line, I'll go up again by 1.5. Now at that 1.5, I'll create a curve to meet that 0.5 inch gap I have from my dark leg. I'm going to use my pen to make it a little bit clear for you to like see it well. Okay, so that's done. Next I want to do now is that I want to go up on my chest line. So it depends on how much cleavage you want to show, but you know this is a corset, last cleavage will still show. So I'm going up by 2.5. And after marking 2.5, I'll use my ruler to make a straight line. Alright, so that's done. Now at that new line I have, I want to go in by 0.75 at both sides. That's done. Now I'll connect it all the way to my bust line. That's that leg at my bust line. So see what I'm doing and do just like mine. Okay, so we're done with that part of it. So see how our that legs are actually looking like. So now what I want to do next, I want to divide my body measurement. My bust is 39 divided by 4. Mark what I have there. At my underbust is 30 divided by 4. Mark exactly what I have there. Next is I will divide my waist measurement by 4. Now at the full length of my top, I'm actually using my hip measurement, which is 42. I'll divide 42 by 4, and I'll mark exactly what I have there. Okay, so now I want to replace that. I have 1.5, replace that 1.5 there. At my underbust, I have another 1.5, replace it there. At my waistline, I have 1 inch, I will replace it there. And after doing that, I'll use my ruler to make so just like I'm showing a pattern master to create my body curve. So you can create yours like you see me creating mine if you get like kind of confused on how we can use your pattern master to create your. And now what I'm doing now, I'm drawing line. Okay, so now that's done. Next I want to add my allowance. So I'm adding the allowance. Okay, so I will now connect it. So I'm using like whatever you want to use as allowance, just use it that part you see. You're still going to take it out when sewing. So I use 1 inch for my allowance. Sorry, I forgot to mention. So I write AL, that is abbreviation for allowance. Okay, so now we're done with that part. Next thing I want to do now, we want to create another dart leg. Because Victorian corset is normally 3 ways, sometimes 4. We just remember the more parts you have, the harder it is for you to sew. So now I'm placing my tape from my body measurement without the allowance to that dart leg. That's my center part of my dart leg. And I'm going to use my pen to mark a mark. I'm doing this at my half length line. Remember my half length line. So now I will create a straight line from top to bottom. Okay, now that's done. Now remember at my half length line, remember half length line, I'm going in by half inch at both sides of my dart leg. And remember I will go up by 1.5 again at my full length line. Now connecting from that 1.5, sorry, from that 1.5 I went up by to that half inch at my half length line. Do the same for the other side. And now I'll connect it all the way to my, I'll connect it all the way to my bust line. So now this our corset is going to be a 3 part. So next thing I want to do now is to take out the difference between the half length of your front and half length of your back. Remember they're different. So my difference between my half length of the front and half length of the back is 1.5 inch. I mark 1.5 inch at that part, sorry, and I'm connecting it all the way to my bust line. So see what I'm doing? I'm doing yours like mine. So now that's done. So the part you see me mark X is the part that will cut out or will take in. Just mark X. So the way you see me mark X, so you will not be confused. Marking X at those parts will cut out. Okay, so now we're done with that part. What's next is our neckline. For my chest line, remember my chest line, I'm going up by 1 inch. After going up by 1 inch on your chest line, now at my armhole line, remember that the demarcation of my armhole line, the half length, sorry, the midpoint of my armhole line. Thank you. The midpoint of my armhole line. I want to create something like a curve to meet that 1 inch I went up by at my chest line. So just what I'm doing and try to do yours like mine. Remember, I'm making a curve from the midpoint of my armhole line all the way to that 1 inch I went up by at my chest line. Okay. So I'm trying to make sure that my line is actually nice and good. So this new line is my neck line. I actually went down a little bit from that 1 inch I made, but still I'm trying to make sure that this is giving me that curve I want at my neckline. So now that we're done with that, cutting time. But before that, if you notice now, if I cut out the neckline, when sewing it, one part will short, like one part will be longer than one part, and I don't want that. So I will like try to fold that part in before I cut out my neckline. I'll still do that. So let's just get into the cutting part first. Using my scissors, I will cut this out. Okay, so before the cutting, I'm just going to remove this my tape so I can fold that I have at the upper part. So look at it. I want to get the center line. When I'll try to fold the center line of that part, like that center line, I want to fold this up. So just try to fold over as you see me folding it, and I will turn this over so that the two that leg that 0.75 I went up by, those two lines can be touching each other. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but you fold up the center line of that part and make sure that the that lines at the two edges are touching each other. Let me do it again so you see what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm kind of like wasting time. So I'm going um above my neckline because it's kind of I'm finding it hard to achieve. So I'll cut above my neckline. And now I want to take out my side dart. So I'll first go to that part you see me cutting right now and cut out all the way to my bust line. This way to me close up my side dart easily. So just what I'm doing, and cut yours like mine. So now that's done, I will go all the way again to the other end to cut out at the other end. So say I'm cutting this and cut yours like mine. So now that's done, I'm now taking out my side. I'm cutting at the down line all the way to my bust line. Remember, half inch away from that point I just cut out. So now I will close off my dart. After doing that, I'll use my tape to tape this down. So this is just me taking that my side that part down, closing it up. Okay, so as I'm done with that part, what I want to do next is I'm done with that part. What I want to do next is I will cut out it. Like I'll cut it out now. Well, you following my exact line I have. So now I'm trying to like make sure that that part I took out at my side that is not like sharp. It doesn't have a sharp end. So that's what I just did now on my pencil. I got rid of that sharp end, and now I'm going to cut fully my exact measurement. That's plus the allowance. So just cut yours like you see me cutting mine. Cutting out the armhole right now, and I'll cut it all the way to that part. So taking away the excesses, that's gone. So now what I'll do next is I want to work on that neckline part. So you just see what I'm doing. I folded it up, make sure that center is being folded in. And now the two other lines, that's 0.75, I went up, they're touching each other. Your 0.75 at both sides should be touching each other. So just what I'm doing, and do yours like mine. I don't know how else I can explain, understand it better, but just fold this up, let your 0.75 be touching each other at both sides. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to try to mark the line so it can be symmetric. Symmetric is the word. So if I'm not getting it right, just be with me. So I'm going to use my pattern master to like redraw that line because the two lines are no longer at the same level. So I'm going to use my ruler, my pattern master, and my pencil to redraw that line. Okay, so now that's done. What I want to do next, I'll use my scissors to now cut at this new line I have. So where's my scissors? I will cut through that part. So just say I'm cutting yours and cut yours like mine. And that's done. So I have my neckline. When you sew this, you will notice that no part is longer than the other part. It's going to be the same length. So now I'm going to cut out those parts I marked with X because that is just the excess. You won't be needing it. I'm going to cut that part out. Just cut just like you see me cutting mine out too. Now I will get rid of all those that legs I have. So now if you notice, look at this, my neckline is looking so nice, and that's how it will turn up in my dress. So now using my scissors, I will just cut up all these other that lines I haven't cut out. So cut yours like you see me cutting mine. So that's my center front one. Place an arrow to where each part is supposed to be joined. So the arrow is facing like at those parts where I have my darts.
So now I'm going to cut out this other part. This is my center front 2. Put an arrow facing where you will join, and that's my center front 3. It's very important to label this thing because you're very confused when you want to join it. So label it exactly how you see me labeling mine. In fact, label yours how you see me labeling mine. Exactly how I place arrows like that. Make sure you write your center front 1, center front 2, and your center front 3. So now I'm just getting rid of the that I have at my center, at my side fronts. So we have center front 1, side front 1, and side front 2. So I was calling it center front 1. So I'm going to get rid of all those dot lines we have there. So I'm just opening this one up all the way to my neckline. Okay, so now we are done with the drafting of the pattern of our front. We have our center front 1, we have our side front 1, and we have our side front 2. So I'm just using my my tape to make sure I close up that part very well, so I can stay put and it won't like open up.
Okay, so now I'm going to just arrange this patterns the way it's supposed to be. So that's all for our front piece drafting of the pattern. So now I'm just going to use my pen to mark, to write 1 at my center front, 2 at my side front 1, and 3 at my side front 2. So 1, 2, 3. It's better you do this so you wouldn't get confused, because I don't want to get confused. So I'm just marking 1, 2, 3. So now time for us to go to the back pattern. Okay, now for my back pattern, I went ahead to draw a straight line that is going to be at my shoulder line and going to be the starting line of my pattern. Next, now I'm marking my shoulder to bust. My half length line, don't forget half length of our front and half length of our back is different. So the difference between my half length of my front, half length of back is 1.5. So I'm just marking my bust line now and the half length of my back. Next is I will connect it using a straight line. So I'm just connecting right now. You see me connecting my bust line, and next I'm connecting my half length line. So I'm right I'm going to write sorry SH for my shoulder. I'm going to label this. What you see me doing right now is that my line was kind of crooked, so I'm trying to like straighten it up. I've straightened it up and it's looking nice. That's good. So now SH my shoulder line, B bust line, UB under bust line. Okay, so now you're saying that you're not seeing, you might be saying that where's our full length line? So now our full length line, this is what we're going to do. So the full length of our top, our front piece is 24. I'm going to use my right 24 right now. Now remember now, the difference between our front and our back is 1.5. I'm now going to do minus that 1.5. So what do I have? 22.5. So now the full length of my back piece is what? 22.5. I want to make a mark exactly at 20.5. So that's the full length of my back piece. Don't forget, this is the full length of my back piece without allowance. So, and don't forget, we didn't also add allowance at our front piece. We'll add this when cutting on our material. So now I'm just going to create straight line, and there, that's my full length line. Using my pen, I'm going to write FL for full length. Okay, so now that's done. Heading over to our shoulder line, I want to divide my shoulder measurement by 2, and I'll make a mark there. Now, if you're listening to before, I did say I get my chest line by adding 1 inch to the division of my shoulder measurement. So 8.5 shoulder measurement plus 1 inch, 9.5. So I'm marking 9.5 at both sides. After doing that, I'll use my ruler to connect them. So now on this my newfound line, this my chest line, mark it CH. On that chest line, I'll mark the division of my shoulder measurement. That's 8.5. Okay, now I'm going to connect the 8.5 at my shoulder line and 8.5 at my chest line. This new line is my armhole line. From that part, I'm going down by 1.5, and from that 1.5, I want to get the midpoint. That from the 1.5 all the way to my chest line, I need a midpoint. So I'm going to get the midpoint and I'll make a mark there. Next, I'll go in by half of an inch from that midpoint, and now I'll create a curve. From the 1.5 I went down by to the midpoint, and from the midpoint all the way to my chest line. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to work on our neckline for the back. Remember, I'm using 3 inch by 3 inch by 1.5 for the neckline of my back. Using my pattern master, I'll create a curve. After doing that, next thing is my shoulder slope. I'm going to create my shoulder slope. So I'm keeping my ruler and keep yours like mine. From my neckline to that 1 inch I went down by. That's how you create your shoulder slope. Next is we're going to mark our nipple to nipple measurements. So I'm marking my nipple to nipple measurement on my full length line all the way to my chest line. I'm using exactly 4. Like my nipple measurement is 8 divided by 2, 4. On my shoulder slope, I got the midpoint of my shoulder slope, and I'll make a mark at the midpoint of my shoulder slope. Next, now to don't connect the points. Midpoint to my shoulder slope to my nipple to nipple measurement at my chest line, and I'll mark my nipple to nipple measurement all the way down to my full length. Okay, so that's done. Next thing I want to do now is to create our dart legs. So I'm going in by 0.75 at both sides. At the full length line, I'll go up by 1 inch, and then I'll connect it from the 1 inch to 0.75 I have there, and from I'll then connect it all the way to my chest line. 1 inch I went up by 1.5 inch, sorry, I went up by to my 0.75. From that 0.75, I connect it all the way to my chest line. So see what I'm doing and just do just like mine. That's if you're confused. So now that's done. I'll mark X because we'll cut out that part. So on this back piece, we're marking another dart leg because, of course, a Victorian corset is meant to be snatched at your waistline. But before that, I will mark my body measurement. So my bust divided by 4, my waist divided by 4, and my hip divided by 4. Okay, so I'm replacing the dart I have at my half length line. After doing that, I will use my pattern master to create the lines. So don't forget to use your pattern master and place it such a way that you can get your hip curve. So just place yours like you place like draw a line like you see me drawing my line at that hip line part, because of course you want your hip line to like be visible. Okay, so now that's done. Next thing I want to do now is I want to make another dart division. So from that my measurement, I'm going all the way to my nipple to nipple measurement. I want to get the midpoint, which I just did now, and I'll create a straight line. Don't forget, from my actual body measurement, I'll get the difference, the midpoint from my actual body measurement to that my dart leg. If I get the midpoint, I'll make a straight line. So now that's done. I'm going to make dart legs of 0.5 inch at both. Sorry, yeah, 0.5 inches, half inch at both sides. I'll make a dart leg of half inch at both sides. Don't forget to go up by 1.5 inch, just like we did with the front. Next is that I'll connect the lines from 1.5 inch all the way to my half inch. and from the 1.5 inch I went up by all the way to my half inch, and I'll connect that one all the way to my chest line. So see what I'm doing, and do yours like you see me do mine. Okay, we're almost done with this tutorial. Next, I'm going to use my pen to mark X because that part will go. Okay, so now I have my my back front one, sorry, my back one. Make arrows the same way you see me make arrows. We have my back two. Don't forget to make arrows the same way you make arrows. And I have my back three. Okay, so right up to where up belongs to, and down to where down belongs to. Okay, so now what I want to do next is I'm going to add my extra 1 inch allowance, sewing allowance. Using my pattern master, I will create another curve, like another. I will like make lines. Okay, so that's done. Now is at the center part of this, I'm going to at my half length part. Okay, wait, sorry. Let's write AL for allowance and AL for allowance. Now, at this half length part, I'm going in by half inch. If you notice, I'm not taking away anything, just half inch. That I don't want this to be too open. But if you feel like you don't like how mine is looking like at the end of this tutorial, you can open yours. Like you can go up by, let me say at the up part you can go up by 1.5, and at the down part you can go up by 1. When I mean up part, chest line can go up by 1.5, and a full length part you can go, you can say you can go in by 1.5. But I don't want that. The only thing I'm doing is at my half length line I went by and like try to connect those lines to give me kind of like an arc. This is the rate of my Victorian corset, this so that it can relax well with. So now I'm cutting exactly on the lines. So the next one is just going to cut this off. So I'm just cutting this off for the drafting pattern for the back piece. So simple. And I'm going to take away that part. That's 0.5 inch I went in by. I'm going to take away that out. So just cut us exactly the same way you see me cutting mine. Okay, so this is how our back piece is looking like. We have my back one, back two, and my back three. Okay, so this is all for the drafting of our pattern of our Victorian corset. I hope you find this video very, very helpful. I will post another video on how I went about the whole sewing process, the bustier, sorry, our Victorian corset bustier caging parts. Okay, so please, hope I'll see you in my next video, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for even playing this video. It means a lot to me.